Last season, it was no Messi, no problem for FC Barcelona as they waited patiently for Messi to continue to get healthy and recover from his injury. Neymar and Suarez picked up the slack in the Champions League, in La Liga. FC Barcelona seemed fine. Now, at the next season, we're kind of at a similar point where Messi is injured again. Won't be out as long as he was the first time, but Barcelona gutting out a 2-1 victory over Borussia Monchengladbach. Welcome back to the Sports Vault, everyone. Jersey Joe Archino back here. And obviously, we had a abundant of Champions League scores the other day, and I think it's becoming more apparent than ever, if we didn't already think so, that Group C is just a cut above everyone else. Barcelona in first place in that group with 6 points. Manchester City right behind with 4 points. Celtic in third with 1 point. And then Borussia Mönchengladbach in fourth with no points. But, of course, we're all highlighting on our calendars October 19th when Man City will take on Barcelona. Pep Guardiola against his old side, the side that made him infamous for what he is now. But I think largely the question is kind of what I brought up at the top of this segment. How will Barcelona be able to do what they did last season? I think, look, last season, whenever you hear you're going to miss Messi for 7 to 8 months, there's a collective gasp and doom that sets in. But Barcelona stayed the course, and they were fine. I mean, you could even argue that at times it made Neymar a better player, the fact that Messi was hurt during that time. It made him have to take on more of a leadership role. It made him have to do things that maybe he wouldn't have been able to do with Messi playing because he had to be a little bit more unselfish. But without Messi in the lineup, Neymar had to be more of a leader. He had to take on more of a leading role, and I think that made him a better player and the better player he is now. Suarez, it was a very similar thing. But now we saw it last night in the match. They did struggle, Barcelona. It was a fight through and through to get the victory in that match. They go down, but they are able to gut it out. Gerard Piqué with the winner. Turan is able to make the game level. And I think that's one of the things that always makes you assured about Barcelona is it does seem like there's always that guy who's always there when you need him. And it's somebody, if somebody's having an off game like a Suarez or a Neymar, either Rakitic is able to pick it up or Iniesta is able to pick it up, or it just seems like this is another game where Gerard Piqué has had his moments where when the other guys have been down, he's been there to pick up the chips for them. And I think that's one of the most dangerous things about this club is, and we know how much talent there is on this collective team, but sometimes your main guys, they just aren't having it that day, and you need to have someone there to pick up the slack when that's not available. And I think Barcelona is that perfect example of someone is always there to pick up the slack of where it was left off. But I think now we're all wondering, is Barcelona going to struggle more now without Messi than they did last season? And I do think that right now they're in store for much more of trouble without Messi than last season. Last year we saw Real Madrid really get out to a really tough start. There was a lot of instability there. Rafa Benitez, we all knew the tumultuous situation there with Florentino Perez, with him, with the players. There was just a disconnect at all three of those levels. But Real Madrid has much more stability now with Zidane than they did last season. Obviously, him or Ronaldo, they're butting heads a little bit at the moment, but I think largely there's a much more consistent stability there now than there was there last season. And Real Madrid finds themselves in first place in La Liga, Barcelona right behind them. Real Madrid 14 points at the top, Barcelona in second with 13 points. So the battle there is something that didn't exist last season to this point. Barcelona largely was running away with La Liga for so long last year, and really was because Real Madrid staggered out of the gate until Rafa Benitez hit the road. But right now it's a different story. Real Madrid is making it much more competitive in La Liga. Obviously with Messi going down now, that doesn't help them out, but Barcelona's still going to maintain their winning edge. I just think they're going to have to gut it out with a little bit more than they did last season. And it's so hard to replace a guy like that. He's the best player in the world, but Barcelona has the pieces to get it done. And I think when you look at it, I mean, 7-0 against Celtic. Celtic is able to draw 3-3 against Man City. And then Borussia Monchengladbach, a side City defeated 4-0, is one that Barcelona had to gut it out against. So I do think you really are starting to see, and it all kind of is lining up to show you that Barcelona is going to be struggling this time around a little bit more without having Messi. But the good thing for them is they're not going to be waiting for Messi's return as long as they were last season. Now, I think Neymar is another guy that really needs to be discussed here because, like I've alluded to earlier, he did really become a better player because of that time that Messi was out. Now, in the summer, obviously, winning gold with Brazil and Rio, I thought, to me, that was another indicator that he was ready to take his game to another level and take his game to another step forward. Now, obviously, he hasn't had the most electric start to his La Liga season, but his season was kind of started a little bit later because of the Summer Olympics. But I still think that everything is on the table for Neymar to continue to take the elite next step forward. He showed it this summer with leading Rio to the gold, and I think that is it's the leadership thing with Neymar. I don't think any of us have any doubt about his talent on the pitch. All the things that are going to come for him after this is his leadership, the way that he controls his emotions on the pitch, all those things. Those are the things that, for me, I want to see him continue to grow and take to the next level. But I do think Barcelona is going to struggle a little bit more this time around without Messi than they did last year. But even with that, he will be back sooner than later. And until the next time, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino. And I'll catch everybody in the next episode.